Hi everyone, so today's video is something a little bit different. I'm actually doing a collab with a lovely group of ladies here on YouTube. I will have all their channels linked down below, so make sure that after you've watched this video you go and watch all their videos. We are doing a makeup through the decades collab. So it starts off with the 20s, which is being done by the lovely Angel, who's the one that organised this. Then it's going to go all the way through till the decade 2000. I'm pretty sure that it's called the noughties, which is being done by me. So I've come up with this look here. If you want to find out how you can get this look, then please keep watching. I'm going to be using more like powder puffs and stuff like that. And for eyeshadow, I will be using like, you know, the sponge tip applicators, just because I thought that would also be fun. So I'm going to start off by putting a little bit of concealer on my eyes, just to get rid of any colour. I'm only going to put a very thin layer on though, and then I'm going to blend that in with my finger. I'm then going to take some pressed powder. This is the MAC Studio Fix powder in the colour NC20. I'm just going to take a sponge and just take some of the powder on the sponge just to set the concealer. When I was researching like pictures of people back from like 2000, I wanted to mainly stick to the early 2000s because I feel like in the late 2000s that is when sort of winged liner started to come in. So I'm going to do like a purple white kind of smoky eye. So I'm going to start off by just putting this white eyeshadow. This is from this sleek Ultra Mattes Volume 1 palette. And I'm going to take it on the sponge brush and I'm going to pop this quite heavy all over my eye, right up to the crease. I'm just going to keep building it because I want it to be quite heavy. When I was looking at pictures, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of like crease work. It was mostly colours on the lid to create the smoky eye, whereas now you find that people blend right up here up to the brow bone, whereas it was mostly just like a base eyeshadow and then a pop of colour or just a little bit of like black or grey just to deepen it up. And I'm just going to take whatever's left on the brush and I'm going to put it right up to my brow bone. I'm not worried about it being too neat. So now that I've got my white base shadow on, I'm going to take this MUA eyeshadow. This is in the shade 9 and it's a pearl and it's just like a very metallic sort of pink eyeshadow. And again, I'm just going to take it on the same sponge tip applicator that I was using. And I'm just going to pack it mainly on the sort of outer 2/3 of my eye. Because I won't be blending, I'm just going to try and blend it into the white as much as I can with this as I go. And what I'm going to do is just take it up into my crease just a little bit on the outer corner and just sort of feather it out a bit with the sponge like that. I'm just going to do the same on the other eye. I'm going to leave the sort of inner corner quite white, but I'll blend purple in just a little bit. So it's almost like you'd have a smoky eye, but the colour that you had on the lid would just kind of fade out into nothing. And then just to soften up the inner corner, I'm just again going to go with my sponge tip and the white and just kind of re-go over the inner part because I want to make it quite icy and frosty. I've got another MUA eyeshadow here. This is in the colour 24 and again it's a pearl and it's just a bit of a deeper sort of red purple kind of colour. And I'm just going to pop this on the outer corner just to deepen it up a bit. Not too much, it doesn't make a huge difference. And then I've got this Rimmel eyeshadow sort of mini palette in 22 Brixton Brown. And I'm going to take the darkest colour right in this corner just to deepen up the outer corner of my eye. And again, just feather that out with the sponge. When I was looking at pictures, I did notice a difference in the blending. I feel like now, unless you're doing like a cut crease, your eyeshadow is, you know, people tend to blend that eyeshadow. So there's absolutely no lines whatsoever, whereas I feel like back then, you know, it wasn't like a big deal to not have your eyeshadow that well blended from the pictures that I looked at. Then I just want to add a little bit of definition to the lash line. So I'm just taking this Maybelline Master Smoky pencil. It's just like a thick pencil, and then it has like a sponge on the end so that you can blend. And I'm just going to put a little bit across my lash line, not too heavy. And then I'm going to take the sponge applicator side just to softly blend that in. It just makes a very small difference. So I'm just curling my eyelashes. I'm just going to add a couple of layers of mascara. I'm using the Rimmel Scandalise mascara. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my face now. I'm going to start off just by moisturising as I normally would. I'm also just going to take a wipe and just clean up any fallout under my eyes. But I'm not going to create like a shape with the eyeshadow. I'm just going to leave it quite messy on the outer corner. But I just want to clean it up under my eye. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the Maybelline Baby Skin Primer just to smooth out my skin. And then for foundation, I want something that's quite a natural finish but not too heavy. So I'm going to use my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation, but I'm going to use it on a flat foundation brush. So I just put a little bit on the brush, and then I'm just going to apply it to my skin, but not a very thick layer, just to sort of even out my skin tone. People definitely didn't really seem to go very full coverage, and the skin looked very natural. So I don't want to really cover up too many freckles. So to me, I feel like this look is a very toned down version of what people did in the 80s. And that whereas I feel like now, makeup that was popular in the 90s, a lot of people sort of like now. So like bold brown lips and very warm smoky eyes. So I think that makeup does repeat itself quite a lot through the decades, which is always very interesting to see. And then I'm going to conceal. I'm only going to conceal under my eyes. I'm not going to conceal in any areas that I want more coverage. And I'm using a concealer which is pretty much the same colour as my foundation, because I don't want to highlight, so I'm just literally putting it under my eyes where I need it. And then I'm going to take my finger and just blend that in. And then just to set my face, I'm going to do a very thin layer of the MAC Studio Fix powder. This is a little bit too dark for me, so you can take it on a kabuki brush. Yeah, it is a little bit too dark for me, but I'm only putting a very thin layer on, as I said. I'm then just going to take the sponge and just set my under eyes just so I don't get any creasing. So I'm going to move on to my eyebrows now, and I'm just going to brush through them, not as much as I normally would, just to fix them a little bit, and I'm going to fill them in with a pencil. Brows at that time seemed to be very thin. I could probably get away with hardly filling them in at all as they are now, but I just want to define them a little bit. So I'm not going to fill them in anywhere near as much as I normally would, but they definitely seem to be more on the thinner side. And I don't want them to look too like perfect and defined. I just want to fill in mostly any sparse areas. So they are very thin compared to what I normally would do. And then I'm just going to take the powder side. This is the Maybelline Brow Satin pencil, by the way, in the colour Dark Blonde. And I'm just going to gently go over, just to add a little bit more to them. I'm going to take a black eyeliner. This is Smolder by MAC. You could use any black liner. And I'm just going to go on my tight line with it. And then I'm just going to line my waterline as well. But I'm not going to bring it down. I'm just going to stick to my waterline, whereas normally when I line my eyes, I bring the pencil down a little bit so I can smoke it out. Just to finish off, I'm going to take that purple eyeshadow that we used mostly on the lid, which is the MUA shadow in the shade number 9. I'm going to put the sponge applicator into the eyeshadow so the product's on the end, and then I'm just going to bring it under my eyes. And I'm not like smoking it into the black, I'm just literally putting the colour under my eye and connecting it to the outer corner. So it looks like you've got a different kind of colour under your eyes because of the white on the upper lid. So I'm just going to pop some mascara on my lower lashes, and then I'll be back to finish off the rest of the face. So when I was looking at pictures to see about like bronzing and contouring and stuff like that, people didn't really seem to do that at all If anything, they would just bronze a little bit. So I'm going to take this Bourjois chocolate bronzer on just a big sort of fluffy brush, and I'm only going to take a little bit of product and just, I'm not even going to brush it, I'm just going to pat it into my cheek just to give a little bit of colour, but nothing too dramatic like I normally would. And then I'm going to skip highlighter altogether, which is a bit sad. For blusher, I'm going to use Well Dressed by MAC, which is like this baby pink kind of colour, and I'm really going to pack it on. So I'm going to get quite a lot on my brush. Because I'm pale, this probably won't show up as well. I just want to add like quite a obvious pink hue to my cheeks, but I don't want it to be bright. That's why I'm using this kind of colour. So for lips, you could pretty much get away with any colour as long as it's really glossy. So I want like a nude lip, but I don't want it to be too light. So I'm going to mix Whirl and Myth by MAC together. I'm going to do a little bit more of Myth than what I normally would. So I'm just going to dot on a bit of Whirl. And then I'm going to take Myth and just go over it. And then I've got this collection lip gloss in the colour Rocksteady No. 3. This is super glossy, so I'm going to pack on quite a lot. Quite a thick layer. Because I want my lips to look really glossy. I also want them to look a little bit thin, so I'm really making sure to keep within my natural lip line. This is actually a really nice gloss if you're looking for a more affordable one because it's not sticky. So there we've got really glossy lips. So I've just straightened my hair and then added 2 mini space buns to it. I feel like this is a bit of a combination of hairstyles, and it's definitely a look that I think kind of went maybe between the 90s and the 2000s, but it was definitely sported in 2000 if you watch stuff like Lizzie McGuire. And I've also just gone through with a waver and just waved certain pieces of my hair just to add a little bit of texture to it so it's not all polka straight. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. This has been so much fun to do. Make sure that you click the link below and watch all the other girls' videos, because I'm excited to see how theirs all have turned out. Be sure to subscribe to me if you haven't already, and subscribe to all the other girls. Give this video a thumbs up if you did like it, and I will see you on Friday for my next video. Bye!